All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome into Train and Trade. We are live every trading day at 11 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you join the free Telegram channel, dtitrader.com/Telegram. And also join us over on YouTube, dtitrader.com/YouTube. We should be up and running there as we speak. Let me just go ahead and double check that, make sure. Yes, we are live. Welcome into our YouTube audience. If you like what you're seeing, give us a little thumbs up. And if you want to be notified the next time we go live, make sure you click that little bell to get notifications and be subscribed. Risk disclaimer here, there is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. You and you alone are going to be responsible for the trading decisions you make. So pay attention and do your own research. Remember, past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's go in, take a look. Crude opened at 82 last night, made it up to 82.43. We dropped down to a low of 79.80, briefly below the 80 level. The crude market back up. This is the September contract at 81.46. FTD levels. These are the FTD levels for July. We know that July opened 75.43 quarter, and we're paying special attention to that FTD low 74.79.50, trying to see if we can get the market back up to that level. S&P currently trading at 74.39. Our big news, Iran, of course, is the kind of overscaling thing. We've got the FOMC coming up tomorrow, so be prepared for that. We also have earnings reports. The big ones tomorrow afternoon, Microsoft and Meta, and then Thursday afternoon, Apple and Amazon. And we got a few more things to add on to that list for Thursday morning with GDP and PCE as well. Is running out of space there, so we'll clear up some of that space tomorrow. So now's the time when we get Tom's opinion on the market. And let's see, Tom has his camera off right now. So uh, the one thing that I'll tell you, I was looking at the market this morning and that low of RB3 at 74.17 compared to yesterday's low of the day at 74.16 quarter. We might be building a support level here. We'll see how that plays out. I think there's still some development in this market. Of course, the Nasdaq is having a very difficult day. We all see that. What do you guys think when you're looking at the market? And I'll tell you what, let's come back to the in my opinion section, but feel free to tell me what you're seeing. Now, our past five train and trade sessions include Monday's week opens, and then we go back to last week. On Tuesday of last week, we looked at the MTI dashboard, always an important tool that we use. You would have seen a few of these on the weekly newsletter that went out last night. Talking markets and roadmap with T Buzz on the 22nd. On the 23rd, what do I do when needing an instant hedge? That might be kind of important the way this market's been moving, especially in that NASDAQ market. And on the 24th, Cadillac, rolling the Cadillac and looking at how we look at some of those more long term type trades. And of course, week opens for Monday. The T Buzz Weekly Trade Letter, I brought this up, released Monday after the close. Broad market update, key news for the week, key earnings to watch, and of course, one of the big stocks to pay attention to. It was in Tom's special opportunities. So if you haven't read it, if you haven't looked at it, make sure you take the time to do that before the end of the day. Special opportunity with Apple reporting on Thursday after the close. Make sure you sign up at dtitrader.com/weekly to get access to that. $49.99 for 1 year access. That's less than $1 a week. More resources that we have, the white paper booklet, Tom's YouTube page. We're over there right now. I see B Jones and W Smart in the room. Let me go ahead and say good morning to our YouTube crowd. Going to type that into the chat. You guys feel free to respond if you like. So we definitely want to make use of that YouTube page and get everybody on the same page over there. Can you get the slides link again? Yeah, let me just go ahead and post that again real quick in the Zoom chat. I'm going to go ahead and Let's see, can I post it into the YouTube chat? Yeah, I still have it on copy and paste. So there you go. It's in the YouTube chat and the Zoom chat. So we're all set to go there. Now, important terms to know. Listen, this market's going to start to get really fast and furious. If you think it has been up to this point, well, it can get even more. We've got the FOMC tomorrow. That's a big deal. So knowing those important terms before you get into that situation, probably important. We do have the link on the page here. Tom's penalty tape. If you're feeling a little bit lost, go ahead and listen to this before we get into Wednesday's trading. And of course, options EDU by DTI, always a big part of what we do. If we're making trades with options, we want you to know the lingo and the language and what we're trying to do here. So make sure you go to dtitrader.com/options EDU to get a little bit of extra insight into how options work and how we might be using them. Now, the July FTD stocks, let's go ahead and look through these real quick. Let's take a few moments here. And first off, the VIX at 1907, kind of a big deal. So keep an eye on that. It is above the FTD high, and that's a bit of a concern. See how that plays out. Okay. Let's see. The S&P futures here open is the year at 69.02. The June open you can see here at 75.95. The July open at 75.43 quarter. And those are marching to finish out July. You can imagine with these numbers, right? We're not really looking that hot on the S&P front. It does have a red flag here because we're below that 74, 79, 50. And if this market fails to have a positive July, we're going to have the June open as the high point, the July open just below it. And conceivably, we could be looking at the August open being below the July open. And if you're a bull in this market, that's not the standard you're looking for. So we've got that red flag up there, red flag on the NASDAQ as well. And you'll notice the Dow is, well, it's kind of hanging on. Now, this was from 9:03 a.m. Eastern. I can tell you right now, the S&P is 74.44. I actually like that number a little bit better. It's above where we closed last week, which was in fact 74.44. So it's trying. Just that Nasdaq is sort of kind of dead weight, almost like a sea anchor on the market, keeping it back and pulling in the wrong direction. Now, if I look at the Dow at 10:03 Eastern this morning, or actually, it looks like we just got an update there. So 52,767. That's going to be updated at 11 after, and nice little move on that. You'll notice that 52,767 below the FTD high, but above the FTD low, and very importantly, above the open of the month at 52.46. So the Dow hanging on, but the Nasdaq sort of weighing on it. Come down the list, you'll see a couple of green flags right down in this area. This is what ZS, W, and C. So that's, if I'm not mistaken, soybeans, wheat, and crude. TLT's down a little bit, but USO is up. Keep coming down the list here. Here's a few more. XLF and XLU. Financials and utilities. So if you're looking for what sectors to pay attention to, these ETFs are a good way to kind of quickly go through and see what sectors are doing well, what sectors not. Keep coming down. This is the tech area of this sheet. I always like to go down and find Intel and then come down from there. Intel at 85.38. Yeah, not looking great. Of course, this is a stock that opened the year at 37.77. So it's beans, wheat, and corn. Okay, well, there you go. We got it right. The big one to pay attention to, I think, is Apple. And of course, we'll have Apple and Amazon, two different pictures on Thursday. But Apple is the stock that if you're a bull, that's the one you put your faith in. And Tom, I know that you're a big fan of Apple. So, what is your opinion on what we're looking at with Apple and what it means for the market as a whole?
Well, you don't have to listen to my opinion. You ought to look at the trades I put out. If I'm focusing on Apple, there's a reason, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so, it's very frustrating in my opinion in a market like this because you got a lot of cross currents. There's one stock that I've seen that that has the right stuff, and that's Apple right now. Now, if it could fall out of favor, but like I told everybody on Monday's meeting, I said this is a stock that is going to go anywhere from five to 15% higher because it made an all-time high. Now, if you go back and look at 335.50, you got a lot of runway here to make some really good money. And so the point I'm trying to say, Chuck, is that out of all these stocks, I'm looking at 30, 40 stocks here to try to find out where to help people find winners. And Apple was one of those that we've, actually sort of been the only song in the chart list that works good, Apple. Because the futures have been, the future E-minis, uh, can't get above that 75.50 area, but if it gets above 74.75, we'll make a attempt maybe getting there. I've been telling people, how many people heard me say, I've said it, I counted over 30 times. It's like the same old music. I said it, as long as we hold that Monday's low, 74.11, I believe the market's going to go higher on Apple earnings. Anybody heard me say that? There's a reason I say stuff like that, because I don't want you to get caught up and get caught short because I think the market's got the potential to go higher, obviously.
Yeah, that 74.11, for those of you that don't know, that was last week's low. The market came down to what, 1675 or 16 quarter. Yesterday stayed above that 74.11 area. And today the RB3 low at 74.17. Potentially, Tom, that's a market showing support at that level, and support, if you can hold it, can give you something on the top side. But it needs help from Apple, and Apple has been kind of pulling the weight. I think Microsoft, the only other Mag 7 that is, well, yeah, I mean, we can look at it right here on the FTD. The only other Mag 7 giving you that green flag. So it's a tough road ahead for the Mag 7.
Look, it's just one of those things, it's Apple's day, right?
Yeah,
And I think money's flowing into it, obviously. But I mean, I was even shocked this morning when it went to 342. I mean, give, I mean,
always nice when the market outperforms your expectations, isn't
that
it?
one, I mean, Apple sure did. And, anyway, just throwing that out about Apple. And anyway, I think
Right.
that's pretty interesting. Okay.
And if we come down the list, one of the things that I'm noticing here, Tom, I've got was this couple green flags here. This is Walmart, GM, RTX, JP Morgan, but at least three of those four, RTX not so much, but Walmart, GM, and JP Morgan, these are like blue chips, right? These are the traditional, what used to be the
Well,
Mag 7 before the
what
technical.
index is Walmart in?
I I believe it might be in just about all of them, except for maybe the Nasdaq. I believe it is in the S&P, and if I'm not mistaken, it's also in the Dow.
It is in the Dow. Walmart's in the Dow. What else do you say was good? I think JP Morgan's in the Dow too.
JP Morgan, yeah, and then GM, General Motors.
Yeah, I don't know if General Motors, they might have got kicked out. I don't know. General Motors might
They,
still be in the Dow.
they might have,
Is
but I do
General
believe
Motors
that
still in the Dow?
I'm not sure, but I know they're in the S&P. We'll double check that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely some of the more traditional names. looking great. And of course, you see the Dow performing well. We could be talking about a bit of a sector rotation. Tech stocks have been doing incredible for the past, not just the past 6 months of this year, the first 6 months of this year, but even going back a little bit further. Tech stocks have been the darlings of the market, and now you're starting to see some of the more traditional names pick up more. We got Archer Daniels Midland as one of our green stocks here. Of course, J&J, Johnson and Johnson, PG, that's Procter and Gamble.
Hey, one
Come
note
down
about
to
Johnson and Johnson. I am going to put that stock in my IRA, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to put it in my IRA. I think I've been holding back for a lot of years because of the lawsuit on talcum powder,
yeah,
and they got it settled today. I think the wind's behind its sails. I think we can see Johnson & Johnson be a huge gainer over the next few years. I mean, they obviously got somebody that cleaned it up, got their books cleaned up. I think it could be a big stock into the future. So I'm pretty bullish on long, looking out there a few years on J&J.
yeah, definitely. 271.36 above the FTD high at 263.10. And just looking at these opens, January open, June open, July open, you're climbing and you're above all of them right now. So
Yeah,
that's a
it's set
good
up.
sign.
I just need to take, you got time. I just need to take time. In fact, I'm going to do if you stay with me today, I'll do a trade here on Johnson& Johnson where I sell a put spread on it. We'll figure that out together when we go live. And so that's my
Yeah.
plan.
And Tom, down here at the bottom of the list, CSX, another one I know you like, 52.50 versus the July open at 47.87
Yeah, it's
above the FTD
consolidating.
high.
It didn't quite get to 54. I think it got to 53.69 or something like that. It got pennies away, but I think it's still charging higher. We'll see.
Right. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, I think let's emphasize the point that we have a lot of these more traditional stocks really showing up on the FTD spreadsheet, and that does speak to a little bit of a rotation. But of course, Apple surging ahead. You don't want to minimize that. Of course, they're going to be reporting earnings on Thursday.
Right.
That,
Thursday, Apple earnings. That's big.
right.
Matter of
And
fact, hold on. If you go listen to the tape that I did with Amanda from BNN, you'll hear I was talking about Apple back in 2007, 2008. It's a different role of Apple from then versus now. I'm gonna listen to it myself just to see what I was saying because I had a lot of reasons. Apple could change the whole market. I said back then, and when Apple didn't go up during that heated time, it told me we're going a lot lower. Apple's going up during this heated time. You see how I'm
yeah,
relating what happened back then to present day? That's experience, folks.
little side note, Tom. I don't know if you were aware of this. Apple retook the position of world's largest company by market cap. They surpassed Nvidia in the past month. So is it I think it's a $5 trillion company now. But I'm going to turn everything over to Jonathan because today we're rolling out the foundation of the brand new options education series. So you guys take it away.
Yeah, I know Tom's real excited about this and going to give a moment. Tom, I typed it into the chat earlier, crude, if you want to go look at crude USO triggered short for us in the power program. And we do have 8 minutes until Genesis, but crude broke the number you mentioned earlier during the roadmap training.
Did it break? Did it break the crude futures did?
Yeah, might take a look at that.
Let me look at it real quick. And I told him, look at SpaceX. It's going to rally to 14 to 15. It's just hit it. Folks, if you saw what I showed you in the roadmap training, you ought to be smiling because I gave you a look at the next couple hours using the compass chart only. So that was pretty cool, pretty simple, and straightforward. Who was at the roadmap training? I did that today. I just focused on the compass charts to show people really how to use it. I didn't get to my metrics portion. I had to do that next time. All right, so I got invited and and opportunities to be in front of some people, and I said, they'd like me to do a master class. Well, I thought, okay, let me put one together on options. And then I got to thinking about it. And this morning I talked to Jonathan. This is a startup. And I said, what better place to show you than right here in Train and Trade for. So we're going to be stuck on this option master class. And if you attend like here, I think you're going to really learn some really things where it's been a long time since I've done something like this, but it's how I navigate live market conditions using real-time price action, key pivot levels, and discipline execution. I'm going to talk about that for a second. If you took the weekend side hustle play this weekend, okay, or Friday, that's the last trade I do every week, everybody made big money on it because it popped that first 30 minutes of Monday. I talked to one of our newer students, and he got a phone call right at the 9:30 time frame. First mistake was answering the phone, right? Second mistake, not having an order in for when you put orders in. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of that. Yesterday, I told people, I think it was futures. I told you crude was going lower. I've been tracking it, and I said crude's going lower. You got to follow the percentage loss of crude, and that will keep you, like right now it's getting worse. It's 3.5% right now. But I said, here's a crude play last night in futures, and I said, I'm doing this trade. Now you want to take your profit. I said, I think it's 85, 90 cents below where it was at the time when we did the class. Who did that trade? They were in my futures class last night. I'm curious who took the trade, because I spend a lot of time figuring these ways to get money. One of my students said that if you'll listen and learn this, you really can do quite well. Uh, oh, way to go. Way to go. So anyway, the point being is that two things we did when we put the order in. We set a stop order in where we're wrong. We set a target order in where we're going to be right. Well, if you hadn't got out this morning, didn't put that order in, guess what would have happened? It went down 50 or 60 cents below our target, then rallied back up right where we originally got in again. So if this is an option insight, if you place an order in the market, even if you change it later where you can see it, set your exit order when you place it. How many people forget to do that? It costs you a fortune not having that order in there. Hey, Dean, does everybody understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying, where I make sure everybody's listening. If you put an order on, it puts you at risk. Set an order to exit that order. Your results, I promise you, will go up a lot better than they've been if you haven't been doing that. You forget about stuff. Everybody forgets about it. I forget about stuff. This morning, I had a bunch of Apple trades, and I was trying to remember all the Apple trades I had because I put it in the little sections, okay? Yeah, it's recorded for you. Just go to the Telegram channel. It's at the top, David. Get into the Telegram room. We have a special session. I'm trying to help you, and one of the things that'll help you, if you'll just remember, we do a trade today on J&J, set a good to cancel order to take profit. Okay, and I'm going to do a live today on J&J. I'll go through the process. But anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I'll be doing this in here. How many people like this idea rather than me charge you? Just I give it to you for showing up. I mean, you'd pay a lot of money for stuff like this, but I'm just going to give it to you because I want to build it. Okay? That's my plan. Options Masterclass. Perfect. Now, I founded DTI in 1996, and I've since educated hundreds of thousands of individuals on the art of trading. That's been my mission since then, and I've done that because it makes me look better. It's all about my ego. I look better when people say, "Hey, Tom, you only made 20%. I made 35%." I always smile and say, "Way to go." I want you to do well and to get you trained where you're not just a robot out there and you learn how this all works. It's not that hard. You just got to listen and learn. And you're never too old to listen and learn. I was selected. This is a big feature. A lot of people can't say this. I was selected as one of only 50 individuals outside of Chicago to receive the CME's Globex terminal. This was a shift from the old day calling the broker and doing it electronically. I've been there since day one. That brings in itself, you don't think so, that brings in itself the 24-hour market, and it's an edge. And you'll see that once I deliver with Mach 2 the power of that. Okay? Now, you can get my 4 books, Roadmap to the Markets, available on Amazon, Winning Day Trading Game, complimentary audio book, Markets Never Sleep, available on Amazon, Trade to Win, available on Amazon. Okay? All that's there. Markets Never Sleep was a looking ahead too, wasn't it? Well, I got that from Globex. That's why I knew about the Markets Never Sleep. Up to that point, I believed the market opened at 9:30 and closed at 4. Now, the course blueprint, this is part 1. Core metrics for a winning options foundation. Focusing on options that pay. Like I'm going to focus today on J&J. That's an option that's going to pay. Who likes to make money? Let me ask that question. Who likes to make money? I have different rules for different strategies, but they're pretty simple. I know where I'm going to enter. That's a trigger number. I know where I'm wrong. And I also have a target when I'm dealing with options and stock, actually. Okay. How about weekly income from Tuesday through Friday? That is a whole section I'll cover with you through Train and Trade. And then leveraging technology to take control of risk and trade management. Okay, who's got the roadmap software? Give me a yes if you got the roadmap software. Let me tell you what I would have if I was on the other side of this fence. Who's got the roadmap software? Okay, I'd have the roadmap software. Okay, who has MTI by DTI? Give me a yes there. Who's got the dashboard with MTI by DTI? Who's got Orion, Genesis, Sunrise? These are technology. Anchor. All these are technology inputs to our trading. They put the odds in your favor. Okay? They put the odds in your favor. Technology allows us to go in and eliminate a lot of the noise to find out the true trend. Okay? We think that's important. Now, let's today focus on, and Josh, let's focus today on core metrics for a winning option foundation. Okay, so let's go. Uh, we'll build the charts for it, and I'll just give a few examples, and we'll get in detail later. Today, I want to give everybody the overview. Okay.
You want to go to a live roadmap?
I'd rather just have a white paper and let me dictate it because the bullet points. We'll go to live next time. Okay.
Okay. We got USO hitting your target, so I'm going to do some work for that for a
We're gonna
moment.
do that real quick. I could use a break, get some water.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Let's take
Oh,
about a 4 minute break. Is this okay? We take a little break for everybody?
All right, let's get this whiteboard situated so we can take some notes. And I'm just going to go to a plain white sheet for now.
All right, let's talk about the foundation. Number one, market direction. Use the 3-day algo. Number two, each week use Monday's high, Monday's low. Number three, know the average true range of any ticker you're trading. Number four, know how to know where support or resistance is using options. Number five, choose only weekly options. That eliminates a lot of different things if you use weekly options. The market's telling you if it has weekly options, that's a liquid situation. Okay? Those are initial, what I would call things that I would look at. Okay? To determine. And I think we stop here, Jonathan, and then we go live and check out, use JOJ as a model. Okay?
Okay, let's do that. Let's go J&J daily and J&J 30-minute on the roadmap charts once they open up. Another one of your power stocks, Jazz Pharmaceuticals, is right there at trigger.
Okay. Now let's look at J and J. Look at the let's look at the daily chart for J and J. All right, that looks good. It's got a new high today. Everybody see that? Look at the 30-minute for J and J. Is that the 30-minute for J and J?
Let's see, I got it daily on the left now and 30-minute on the right.
Okay. All right, so if you look at that, it looks to me like J and J, what that tells me that J and J is making highs today, but it's in a corrective mode right now. So I'd probably do the trade anyway, but I'd want to make sure that I get an adequate amount of money for taking the risk because the daily looks good to me. It's breaking out. I'm good with it. Okay. And if I go back and look at those five things, we're above the 3-day high, aren't we? Y'all, we checked that out when we had the sheet up, correct? If you look over there, Jonathan, at the metrics page, you might circle it and say we can verify that, or we're above the 3-day high.
3-day high was 263. We're up at 269, so definitely above the 3-day high.
All right. So the next question I ask myself when I'm looking at J and J, okay, I'm saying, are we above Monday's high? Let's just check it out. Monday's high for J and J.
We are slightly above Monday's high.
Yeah, 275, it looks like 274 or whatever. Okay, so we're above Monday's high. J and J's in play. They made a news announcement today, which was very bullish, saying they wrapped up the talcum powder issue, talcum powder gate. Okay, so we know that's good, right? Okay, now let's go to a live market and search for the right strike and the right date. Look down there at the low on the daily. What is it, Jonathan? 246 area?
Yeah, 245,
All right,
246.
go find me a 245 that fits the following criteria. I want to be out far enough, number one, that I get 20% of the width of the spread. It can be any spread as long as I'm getting 20%. A $5 wide, I'm getting a dollar's worth. A $2.50 wide, I'm getting 50 cents worth. So that so forth. Okay.
Have to be further out than 21, that's for sure. Let's see, a 5 wide would require a dollar or so. Well, when you get
75 is too
to
much.
September, when you skip from September 4th, a 245, 240 is only paying, it's a little wide, so it's a little bit hard to tell, but it's only paying marked 32 cents. And then the next expiration cycle out is September 18th, which only has 10 wides.
Okay, so we don't want to go that far. So we go back and backtrack to the date you had 2.5 wides.
That'd be the longest dated is September 4th.
Okay, go to September 4th. And how high would you have to go up to do J and J to get 20%?
You're getting close based on the marked midpoint. Not sure you get filled there, but getting close with 255.50.
All right, hold it. Just stay there. 96. What did you say? 92% for 55, 52 and a half?
That's where it's marked right now, midpoint 92 cents.
All right, we'll set the order in at a dollar and let it work because remember, the short term JJ was pulling back a little bit. We'll probably get filled. If not, we can adjust it by the end of the day. Jonathan will put that in TNT. That's how we keep track of it, right?
Sounds good. I'll type it up.
And so if you're in TNT, you'll have constant monitoring this through the T-Buzz system. If you're not in TNT, you're on your own.
What do you want to target on this?
I'm getting a dollar. I want to buy it less than 20%. Well, excuse me. I'm getting a dollar. I want to buy it less than 25 cents. Put it at 24.
People getting filled at $1 right now, $1 to $1.05.
Yeah. It's a 5 wide, right, Mike? I saw that. I thought it was a 2.5, but that's fine. We'll take it. Since I'm monitoring it, you can trade as an advanced trader.
$1.09 fill.
And buy it back at 21 cents. anyway, going through those metrics and, going through those metrics, using that formula will keep you honest a little bit. And J&J, like I said, J&J, I'm going to design a entry level to put money out of my IRA, and I haven't done it yet. I haven't had time, but I will. Okay. Any questions about what I did? I said an order to get out at. Now let me give you what I call a warning sign. And this is what you don't set a stop in on a spread like this. You set a warning sign in. The high of the breakout for the month. Anybody remember what that number was? I think it's around 360, wasn't it? 359? So you got three things you're doing. You set your order, you're going to take your profit. I didn't give you a trigger number. I went on and put the order in, and you got to have a warning sign. What was the 3-day high, Jonathan?
263.
All right, set a alarm at 263. And that's sort of like put the trade on and let it work. Everybody understand that? Okay, 263. And we got a 55.50, Jonathan, not a 55.52 and a half, right?
55.50 is correct.
Yeah, so Jonathan will let me know it's 263. We'll take some action. That's how that works. Does that help you to see me go to a live market? John says, what do you do if the warning sign gets hit? Well, John, if it gets hit, you better be asking me what I'm going to do. I'll be posted in TNT. Are you a TNT member? Well, you'll get the information dialed in there. I think that's only fair. This is where I'm giving you the trade to show you what I'm going to do with my own money. And the live market always helps. All right, Jonathan, I think we covered that. I think you ought to play MTI by DTI dashboard because a lot of people don't have that new dashboard. You ought to play that one. What were you planning on playing?
Well, you booked a profit this week, and Weekend Side Hustle was going to showcase that.
Yeah, we'll showcase that at the end of the week. Let's showcase, if you can, why don't we showcase MTI dashboard? Because people don't realize how good that's become.
All right, give me a few minutes to find that video and give it to Chuck, and he'll take over and stream in a moment. We have Trade to Win Advanced Live Trading with you at 1 p.m. Eastern Time today. So once the video starts.
Does anybody want to join me for live trade? He'll put the link in there and you can come join me for what time are we doing the live trade, Jonathan?
You wanted to move it to 1 o'clock, so we'll start.
Yeah, give me a little breathing room. I need a little breathing room. We still got 9 classes left, formal classes, so it's not too late to join me for live trading. I think people are well on their way to hit our goal, and we'll look at a few things there, maybe set up at 1. All right, Jonathan, I'm going to